Welcome back! In our last module, we talked about smart gardens and how they can help protect the Indian River Lagoon from too much phosphorus.
And we briefly introduced a tool that will be your personal assistant throughout this project, Generative AI. Today, we are diving deeper into what this amazing tool is and how you will use it to answer any questions you may have when building your smart garden.
Think of artificial intelligence, AI, as a super smart computer tool. It can do amazing things like recognizing faces, or coming up with new recipes, or driving cars. But generative AI is a special kind of AI. It's not just smart, it's creative.
Generative AI can make new things, like stories, poems, simple computer code, or generating images. It is like having a robotic artist, programmer, and so much more at your fingertips.
So, how does this creative AI work? Well, Gemini is a bit like a super reader. When you give it a task or ask it a question, it scans through its giant library of information looking for connections to generate a response tailored to your needs.
It's important to note that Gemini cannot think or feel like a human. It's a powerful tool that looks for patterns when generating information. This is why fact-checking is so important. It is there as a guide, not as a replacement for your thinking process. Now, let's look at the ways Gemini can help you with your smart garden project.
First, it can help you understand tricky concepts. If you're stuck on what a microcontroller is or how phosphorus affects plants, just ask your AI assistant and it can explain things in simple terms.
Second, it is great for writing simple code. If you need help with a piece of code to make your sensor talk to your pump, your AI assistant can give you a starting point or help you fix any errors.
And third, it's awesome for troubleshooting. If your garden isn't watering correctly or your plants aren't looking healthy, you can describe the problem to your AI and it can help you figure out what might be wrong and suggest solutions.
Having a superpower means using it well. Being a responsible AI user is super important. Before we dive in, let's highlight key things to keep in mind for safe and effective usage.
First, remember, AI isn't always perfect. AI learns from what humans put on the internet, and sometimes that information isn't correct. So your AI assistant can make mistakes just like you and me, which is why it's always a good idea to double check any outputs it gives you. AI is a powerful tool, but you still need to act as the main expert.
Next, let's talk about plagiarism.
When you are using AI to generate information, it is important to be honest about it. Make sure to always cite its usage, as you would a book or a website, and always make sure that the information being generated is not being plagiarized by a different source.
Also, be mindful of your privacy. Just like you wouldn't tell a stranger your home address or your secret password, you should never share private or personal information with Gemini. Treat it like a public space.
Ooh, look at this plant. Look how happy and healthy it is.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, yeah, it looks great.
Since AI learns from human-created data, it could sometimes pick up on human biases. This means it could accidentally focus too much on a particular idea or ignore other important information. It is something to be aware of and think critically about. If something feels off, question it.
In the last module, we mentioned that you can ask Gen AI questions. These questions are called prompts. A prompt is simply a message you send Gen AI to tell it what to do.
Now let's talk about how to get the best answers from Gen AI. It's all about writing great prompts, and the clearer your instructions are, the better. We use what we call the 3 C's for creating awesome prompts. The first C is clarity. Tell Gemini exactly what you want. Don't be vague. If you say, tell me about plants, you might get too much information, but if you say, give me 3 cool facts about photosynthesis for a 12-year-old, that's much clearer.
The second C is context. Tell Gemini who you are and what the situation is. Are you a 4-H'er building a smart garden? Tell it that. The more background you give it, the better.
The third C is constraints. Tell Gemini how you want the answer. Do you want a list, a paragraph, a step-by-step guide? This helps it give you the perfect format. And here's a secret tip. Great prompts are rarely made on the first try. You'll often need to iterate. That means refining your prompt, adding more detail, or trying a different approach based on previous answers. It's a bit like tuning a guitar until you get the perfect sound.
Let's put the 3 C's into action with a real-world problem from our smart garden. Imagine that a phosphorus sensor, or even just observing our garden, tells us we might have too much nutrient runoff. This could lead to harmful algal bloom.
Let's ask Gemini for advice. We can start with a basic question: how to stop algae bloom? See, that's too general. Gemini is giving us a lot of info, but it's not specific to our situation, a smart garden and protecting our local lagoon.
So we'll edit our prompt to guide Gemini even better. Remember, the more specific you are, the more helpful its answers will be.
Let's try saying, I'm a 4-H'er with a smart vertical garden. How can I prevent nutrient runoff that causes algae blooms in my local lagoon, specifically focusing on phosphorus? Let's see how Gemini's response changes.
Now we're getting somewhere. We've added context, a 4-H'er, smart garden, local lagoon, and made it clear, preventing runoff and focusing on phosphorus. See the difference?
This looks great, but what if we need actionable steps for our specific type of garden? Let's add a constraint and even more specificity. Let's say, I'm a 4-H'er with an indoor smart vertical garden that uses hydroponics. Give me 5 step-by-step actions to prevent phosphorus runoff that could cause algae blooms in my local lagoon.
Now we've got a clear, contextual, and constrained prompt. Gemini understands exactly what we need and how we want the answer formatted.
With the addition of our 3 C's, we were able to get information that is directly relevant to our project and what we were looking for. Sometimes using AI can seem like having a mind-reading helper, but in reality, AI is only as smart as the questions you ask it.
It's amazing how much Gen AI can do.
It is, but did you know that it actually has an environmental cost every single time it gets used?
No, I thought it was all online.
It's easy to think that way, especially since what most people interface with is the online portion, but in order to run these tools, massive supercomputers called servers are working all the time, day and night. These servers use huge amounts of electricity, and all of that work makes them really hot, so then they need a lot of water to stay cool.
I guess even our digital friends have a physical footprint.
Absolutely. Using AI also means we should be mindful of its impact and appreciate the resources it takes to power this incredible technology.
So, in this second module, you learned how to be a responsible Gemini user, how to harness Gemini superpowers to create your smart garden, and the real cost of generative AI concerning our environment.
In the next video, you're going to work with super cool sensors as we continue to build our amazing smart gardens.
We'll see you in the next one. Until then.